Alright, well, we are at the Goodwill today and we are about to head in and see what we can find that we can flip for a profit. This particular Goodwill, I've noticed they do not restock very often. Past 2 times it's been like the same stuff on the shelves. So I'm not feeling super optimistic, but there is a chance that today could be different. So we're gonna head in and see what we can find. Here we go. So unfortunately the music was too loud and I do have to film a voiceover. Right off the bat, we've got the same ashtray with the chip that has been here the last 3 times that we have been to this Goodwill. So I'm not feeling overly optimistic, but you just never know. So we head down the clear aisle. I never discount the clear aisle, but I'm never super excited about the clear aisle, if I'm being completely honest. Here we've got a little soap dish. It looks like, I don't even know why I bothered to look at it. And here we've got a piece that was identical to a piece that we saw yesterday at that Goodwill, so I just found that interesting. Up here, this mug is interesting. It looks vintage, but I'm just not sure what exactly it's supposed to be, and so I decide that I will leave it behind. I kind of like this lamp just because it looks like a teapot, but it really doesn't have a whole lot going for it, and so I decide to leave that behind. The other lamps are the same as the last time I was here. This piece over here, I believe this is Daisy's. It's a sugar. Unfortunately, the lids have a tendency to get damaged, and that lid is damaged. This is restaurant ware, and it is John Maddock and Sons, England. It's got that Grecian key around the edge, and I like that pattern, so I decided to grab it for $2. I'm checking out the Asian plate here. It does look modern, unfortunately, and it turns out to be plastic. I bang it on the edge of the shelf to just be sure. That swan was just too much for me. I couldn't do the swan, and it had the image, so. Those look really bougie, but not really my thing. By the way, Andrew's 21-year-old son taught me the word bougie, in case anyone was wondering. So over here on this side, I'm seeing a lot of the same. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Down here, I believe this is Fire King. I'm not sure how much these pieces sell for. I usually don't buy them for resale, just because they're bulky and without their lids, I don't think they sell terribly well, and so I just don't usually bother with them. I kind of like this, but unfortunately the top fish is damaged. I couldn't really go anywhere in that aisle because the older woman at the end was trying to do something, and I stood there for a minute and she didn't realize that I was waiting for her to get by. So I had to actually turn around and go against the arrows. It did not feel right, but it's something I had to do. So please forgive me and don't be mad at me. I think we've picked this up before. It's just a little carved cat, possibly a shop project at school. Up here, this thing looks like a creature, and it took me a moment to realize that it was part of a golfing thing. It had feet. This plate was nice, but it was not marked on the back. And if it was marked, it was under the Goodwill sticker. So I've got enough plates and platters to last me into eternity, and I decided that it wasn't worth it to me. I found this to be really interesting, and it wasn't until I was checking out that it occurred to me that I believe this may have been part of a lamp. But I just thought it was really decorative, and I really loved the colors of it. So I ended up buying it just because I thought, wow, I really love those colors. But I do think that it may have been part of a lamp that somebody disassembled and saved the body of the lamp. It could probably be turned back into a lamp if someone was determined enough. That somebody is probably not me because I don't have the spare time for it. These reminded me of Staffordshire pieces. However, they were not. They had the outline of a sticker on the bottom that told me that they were probably made in China. So because I didn't want to go against the arrows, I actually skipped an aisle so that I could return to obeying the rules and obeying the arrows. I liked the shape of this vase, but alas, it was very modern with a website on the bottom. I kind of liked these mugs, but there just wasn't really enough profit in the mugs to make it worthwhile, even with two of them. However, here we've got a Blue Mountain Pottery mug that I really liked, and it had this chip on it, but what was interesting about the chip is it's actually glazed over, so I believe it was a manufacturer's defect. However, I feel like because it is a chip, it would affect the value of it, and I decided to pass. These are otagiri. This is an otagiri design. The lid, you can see, is cracked through the bag, and I decided to pass on that. I believe that's one of their better selling sets. At least it had been. I don't know if it still is. Gotta love the cobalt glass, but I think that was actually plastic. I like the peacock tray, but I don't even bother to pick it up. And then a ball comes rolling down the aisle. We've got a planter here. It is marked 1973, so it was probably a hobbyist piece and not something that I would gravitate towards. Normally when I gravitate towards hobbyist pieces, they are critters, as you'll see in the Goodwill video that is coming up. But hey, look at these right here. This is the aisle we skipped over. We've got a really nice set here. It looks like a tea set, and I didn't actually peel the sticker on the bottom. I'm going to venture a guess and say it might be Czechoslovakia, but I don't know. I didn't look. So it's a mystery to me. But I really like that set, obviously. I even gave you guys the thumbs up. And I think it was $4 for the set. So that was a good one. That was probably the best piece of the whole video. Not that I'm, foreshadowing or anything. We've got this. And I decided to move it a little down so that people can see there's a piece inside that likes to wiggle. We've got some pink glass here. I try to pick up pink depression glass, but you guys know it's really not my thing. It has to be an exceptional piece for me to grab it, or Andrew has to grab it because he he tends to grab it more often than I do. Modern. No. So I like the looks of these little trays down here. They're just kind of floral and pretty. But I don't really like the looks of the back of them. They just a decorative tray, and I just wasn't sold on the critique. The critique scared me off. I'm not gonna lie. We've got an Otagiri mug here. It's the stoneware with the speckled glaze. Oh, and I put this in my cart. I didn't remember that, but I haven't opened the bag since I went into my trunk 2 days ago. So there we go. I like the little angel, but it is made in the Philippines. Yes, I see the Tupperware. But I don't pick it up. There's a lot of silver plate here on the end cap. Silver plate is not something I typically mess with. That's more Andrew's thing. He has an eye for the silver plate, and he knows which companies tend to do better. I avoid silver plate in general. So I'm going down this aisle simply because the arrows were going in the other direction if I had gone the other way. It's basically a maze these days when you go to Goodwill. But see, now I'm going the wrong way anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm checking out the artwork here. They've got some nice pieces. The llama I love, of course. I know it's modern. I think it was sold at Target, but I really like the llama. And I love this big piece right here. This is something that you would find at Target and they'd be selling it for $50. It's a great piece, but I would have nowhere to put it in my home, so. Now that I'm editing the video, I'm thinking I really should have picked up that ball so nobody tripped on it, but at the time, I didn't think of it. So I'm going back through here, desperate to find something, anything. I usually make a couple trips around the shelves just to make sure that I'm not missing anything, especially when I'm looking through the camera lens. I have a tendency to be looking through the viewfinder, and I do miss things. And it's because I'm not focused on the shelf and I'm focused on what I'm filming. I liked this mug right here. It was signed, but it was a more modern hobbyist piece. Again, I really did like it, but I decided to pass on that. We've got some teacups here. I liked the handle on this. It kind of reminded me of an RS Prussia piece, but it was not signed. And so I decided not to grab that. Got a little leaf dish. I thought maybe that could be Lennox, but I tipped it over and it said made in China. Here we've got a melamine dish, I think is what it's called. Little dish for a candle. And here we've got mushroom cups. We've bought these before with owls on them. They don't sell terribly well, but they do sell. And so I decided to grab the cups with mushrooms just because they're fun and mushrooms do pretty well. Now I found another melamine dish, and they have to go together on the shelf. So this was interesting. This is a cigar humidor. It is made in Taiwan, but it is Abby. I don't know anything about cigars. I didn't know anything about this. I just thought, you know, old humidors do pretty well when they're made out of porcelain. Maybe this could be something. And so I decided to investigate it a little further, but then I get really hung up on the lid and trying to close it one-handed. And I decided to leave the footage in just to entertain everyone. I got it. We're good. I like this set, but I just cannot commit to sets of china. But I can commit to rearranging the shelves at Goodwill. There we go. This right here, I liked this box. It had a really heavy weight to it, but it was marked on the bottom, made in China, and I mean, I don't know. I really liked the weight to it. It felt like it was something of quality, but I decided not to grab it. Jam jars? Maybe? You can tell I'm desperate when I'm literally tipping everything over to see what the bottom is, just hoping that something's going to surprise me and I'm going to hit the jackpot. Like this. Here I'm buying something for myself. Appalachian Brewing Company is a local brewery. They make one of my favorite beers, Water Gap Wheat, and I just got myself some coasters that just happened to be bottle openers at the same time. Hello, here we've got something. Finally, I walked right by it the first time. This is why we go a number of times. I believe this is Royal Winton. I did not see the bottom, but it is a creamer and it's vintage. I really like it. It's, you know, I don't know how I missed it, but I finally found something that was hiding in the back. Got a little trinket dish here / ornament. I'm kind of searching the shelves here to see if I can find a sugar to go with our little creamer. There's a vase down here, but it is totally modern. In fact, I just had a deja vu moment like I'd picked that up before. This little piece looks like a little bamboo planter or vase. It's 99 cents, and I could probably get $8 to $12 for it, so I decided to grab it. Now, I went down the entire shelf, and I did not find the sugar, so it's unfortunate. I figured that's probably where it would be if I was to find it, so I'm going to settle for the little vase. And finally, in the cookware section, I find this. Now, this heavy silver overlay band is usually indicative of Dorothy Thorpe. She did this heavy, solid band. So I'm going to assume that this is a Dorothy Thorpe set, but I am going to have to double check on that before I say with certainty that it is Dorothy Thorpe. But she was known for doing that heavy, thick silver band. So I have to rearrange my cart to put it in there. But I'm pretty pleased with that. And there are 3 pieces there. There are 2 bowls and a dish. So there you go. That's pretty darn good. All right, well, that was okay. We found some good stuff, but it took a couple rounds around the aisles before I saw stuff hidden, I guess. I don't know. This place used to be really good. I used to always find stuff when I came in. And I don't want to chalk it up as being like, oh, this place doesn't have anything anymore. I want to chalk it up to maybe they're having a staffing shortage or something like that. that they're just not getting as much stuff out on the shelves, whereas the other Goodwills are just pumping the stuff out. So I'm sure there's a reason behind it. I'm not going to just discount this Goodwill, but I may steer clear from it for a while and focus on some of the other Goodwills. But we did get some good stuff today, so I'm pleased with what we got, especially that little Royal Winton creamer. I thought that was great. I was really hoping we would find a sugar to go with it, so that was disappointing that we didn't find one. But on that note, I am going to get out of here. Drew has dinner ready, as always, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.
My family calls it my superpower. It's my ability to see value in things that other people might overlook.